What if Yoda and Darth Vader faced off in a lightsaber duel? Who would win? How would it go? Would it be one-sided? Standoff? We're going to talk about it here. Welcome to the Resistance broadcast, everybody. I'm John. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's our discussion show. So Mondays, we give our takes on the news. Thursday, we get into more discussion, lore, theories, speculation type stuff. And that's what we're here to do on this Thursday. So get your engines going in your minds about what would happen if that fight ever took place. And we're going to give our takes on it in a little bit. With me, as always, Lacey and James. Usually we'll start with Lacey on Thursdays, but James was very emphatic that he has a snack he would like to share with us to kick off.
Do you understand for the past like 4 weeks we've started Thursdays episodes with snack related items?
Do you understand that it kind of naturally just became a thing because Lacey would snack before the show and then I would like put her on the spot as the show started. But people have really enjoyed the snack talk at the beginning of our shows.
I have to eat something before I do the segment.
The Pop-Tart thing took off.
I just had Intamin's cookies. I have to eat something.
I've been having a craving for Intamin's donuts.
Oh, which donuts? Matt said the ones with the little brown sugar dots on them are the best ones. That's what he was arguing.
No, I'm talking about the classic ones with the hard chocolate outside, and then when you break it open and dip it in milk, like you feel like it's almost cupped the milk inside the chocolate. It's so good.
Those are the classics. Also, the powdered donuts are the white powders are also very good. We ran a poll whether people know what a fluffernutter is.
And so
most
good.
people.
How did that result?
Most people did know what a fluffernutter was. I'll get the results in a second here. James, why don't you let us know what your...
A lot of people were disgusted, though, to be fair, James. A lot of
people thought it was a perverted thing.
A lot of people were like, that's disgusting.
So, James, it was 57% yes, 43% no.
So, fairly 50-50.
Yeah. Yes.
57 to 43. If that was a presidential election, it'd be a landslide.
Right, but that's not as much as like 30 to 70%.
It's still 57% of people.
A lot of people were really disgusted.
50-40 range. Yeah. But anyway.
Now I need to have one of those. Anyway.
I mean, and also, I'm not entirely sure how many people voted. That could have been like, I meant to click the wrong one, and that swayed it.
It was exactly 250 people voted on our snack poll.
Well, speaking of snacks, because we talked about the Kit Kat stuff, I wanted to show that I had gone out and picked up some of these.
I still haven't had one, James. I feel like you're rubbing it in my face right now.
So the Kit Kat Duos, mint and dark chocolate, I picked up that one. I got the Duos mocha and chocolate. And then I found this one, which was interesting too, which was fruity cereal.
Oh, I saw that in the store.
Oh!
I was like,
it's
I don't know.
Fruit Loops.
Yeah, I don't know about
this one. Is that white chocolate, though? Ugh, I don't like white chocolate.
I think so. But one thing that I wanted to, that I had here that I thought might be interesting is I found some extreme warheads.
Oh, God.
And I thought I might pop one on. I've got 3 different colors.
My mouth hurts already.
I know. So I've got lemon, strawberry, or watermelon, or apple. Which one should I have?
James is supposed to host the first segment. He's about to pop in a warhead.
I would have the green one.
The green one?
Yeah, go green.
Right.
For Yoda.
What was I was going to say something that was relatively important.
All right, here, I got it. The green one, right?
Yeah, go.
How about all 3?
Okay. All right.
Oh my
so
God.
I'll host the segment to kick off the show. No. James, what I kind of want you also do by the end of the show is...
he's dying for the audio people. He's legit
for audience
dying.
Listener, he's making weird faces. He might be hamming it up a little, though. I don't know.
I think he's in pain. My mouth hurts.
Is it like just very... Is it...
He said it hurts.
What is it? Too bitter? Like what's going on? What are the symptoms?
It's hard to swallow.
Are your jowls like tingling?
Yeah, it's back of the tongue is stinging, and the sides.
I feel like I taste it just by looking at your face.
Mm-hmm. It's everything that I remember about how powerful it is.
When was the last time you had a warhead?
10 years, probably.
Are these like your old warheads from school that you've had in a backpack somewhere? Or did you buy new ones?
I found them when I was out getting candy.
He's biting into him now. Oh, jeez.
Oh,
yeah, it got really bad. It was easy. I was like, okay, this isn't as bad. And then it got really worse. And then
before the end,
it kind of went away.
Before the end of the episode, I want you to take that's fruity cereal Kit Kat and bite it dirtbag mode. Don't separate the sticks.
No.
Just take a giant bite out of it. Okay? All right.
Remind me at the end of the episode.
And to take out your trash.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to get into the show now. And our first segment is called what, James?
The Force is with me. And I'm one with the Force.
John, we're doing One with the Force this week. And if it's been a while since we've done this and you kind of forgot what it is, we're going to take a topic and kind of give you a few different options, but the catch is that you only get to choose one. So you have to make a decision. It's a little bit not like Will of the Force where you can speculate a little bit. You got to make a decision. So let's get started with this right now. The first question, the first pitch, the first concept is, if either Boba Fett or Din Djarin had to die in their respective series, which one would you rather see perish, knowing that they would never appear in Star Wars content that takes place after that point? Yes, John, that's how death works. I'm starting with you on this one.
Not in Star Wars, apparently.
Not in Star Wars. Who are you picking, Boba Fett or Din Djarin?
I think it's closer than it would have been, but I'm still going to go with Boba Fett. Just because I feel like we're just getting to know Din Djarin, and I feel like more stories can be told with him. Though, like, it's way closer than it would have been like a couple years ago, where I was cool with Boba Fett just being gone. But I'm still gonna go with Boba Fett, but not by as much as I used to.
Lacey, who's dying in their respective series on your watch?
Put it like that.
Who's dying?
Boba Fett. I really like Din Djarin. I've gotten to know him, and we are connected as Star Wars fans to him, I think, a little differently than Boba Fett. I know people grew up with Boba Fett and they're like, oh, I have this image of him and he's so cool. You don't have the emotional connection you do to Din Djarin with Grogu and everything he's been through, and you want to see him succeed. And for once, I want a happy ending for that character and don't want to see them die. Dave Filoni.
Yeah, I actually think I'd be really sad if I saw Din Djarin die.
Yeah, so I feel like Boba Fett, I'd be okay, because as long as he went out like in a blaze of glory of being like, I took down all these people, I'm out, you'd be like, okay, that's actually cool. Whereas I feel like Din deserves to have his go settle with Omera on a village somewhere, or in a village somewhere with Grogu stopping by time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's me.
I'm gonna say Din Djarin.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
But here's the reason. I think you guys spelled it out perfectly. Is we really like that character, and for him to die at let's just say this show goes 3 or 4 seasons. It's his still respective series though. By the end of that 4th season, he dies. I think then you have something really compelling, really interesting. They wrote that story because this is the story of that character, and here's why it's going to be more moving. I think if you kill off Boba Fett, there's always going to be, no matter how much they try to make him cool or give some sort of sad tale or something like that, I still think we're always going to be like, come on, man, it's this guy,
Right.
And when that character dies, you're going to be like, man, that was pretty cool, that was fun. But I think the story, the tragedy that they could tell with Din Djarin's is something that would live forever, kind of thing. And I think it reminds me a lot of Kanan. Like, I didn't want to see Kanan die. Kanan was young. Kanan had a lot of really good potential, especially since like he kind of made his decision that he was done with all that stuff. And when he came back hard. Why did he have to die? Well, that's the story. And a character dying at that point in his life, it means a lot. And I think that his death is now superseded his life, if that makes sense. So I think like by killing off Din Djarin and having that story within the Mandalorian, maybe he sacrifices himself for Grogu itself or something. I think you have a bigger tale being told there, and giving his life more importance than Boba Fett just, being killed in his respective series or something.
Good point.
All right, well, how about we go silly then? The next question is, would you rather learn Shriwook to understand Chewbacca, or learn how to speak the droid language so that you can understand R2-D2? Now, the catch, of course, being that no one is ever going to be around to translate the other. So you can't say, well, I'd learn Shriwook because, I would somebody's going to be able to translate R2-D2 for me. That's easy. So you're never going to understand the other character if you choose one. So let's start with Lacey on this one. Which one are you going with, Shriwook or the droid language?
I'm going R2-D2. I feel like R2-D2's in more situations that you need him to do things than Chewbacca, whereas Chewbacca would understand me. And if I was like, hey, we got to get out of here, fly this ship, he'd be all good.
Well, R2 understands people.
No, but I would have more benefit understanding what the droid was saying than what Chewbacca was saying, because R2-D2 oftentimes is, where's this thing in this building? And he'll be like, it's on the 3rd level. Like, I'd need to know that. Whereas I feel like Chewbacca doesn't, based on the movies, doesn't provide information like locational things or, hey, this guy's over here, something like that. He's more like hanging there to help you as things progress, whereas I feel like a lot of plots and details and important moments fall to R2-D2 of what he knows or what he could know.
Chewie's like, it smells bad. You're like, I don't care.
Basically. Whereas I feel like R2, like literally, he's like, oh, it's on the 5th detention level. Hey, this door goes here, or hey, the ship's telling you this.
It's a good answer.
Those are really good reasons. Yeah, John. I assume then you want to learn Chewbacca. You want to learn Shriwook.
Yeah, just for the friendship. Him and Han clearly just hitting it off, and Han saved his own life for knowing it, for one thing, or Chewie would have probably killed him. But I just think that best friendship, it's kind of like when you kind of wish, like, I wish I knew what my dog was thinking, or like something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'd be best friends with R2-D2 though. So
sure. But Chewie's a living thing, and he's a friend and a confidant, and it could be a very good, strong, lasting relationship. Whereas the droid thing, while I agree with Lacey's point, for me, it's more of the personal connection aspect. I think I would have with Chewie. I think would be a lot better for me to understand what he's saying, because I want to be bros with Chewie, and in order to be bros with somebody, it's a lot easier to know what they're saying. So I think that'd be my pick.
I stuck with my first thought on this, which I understood what you were saying. I don't think it was confusing the way you worded it, but when I read it, would you rather learn Shriwook so you can understand Chewbacca, so when he talks I can understand him, or learn how to speak droid? And I was like, beep boop 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 beep boop boop. I was like, I don't want to learn that language.
Well, deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith.
Is that something where somebody speaks droid to a droid?
Anakin does.
Anakin's explaining it to Obi-Wan, the nuances of droid speak. And he moves his mouth like this and stuff. Deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, so my thought was, how ridiculous is that? Speaking droid. I was like, I'd prefer to take the Han Solo in mud speaking Shriwook if I need to. So having an understanding of that language to me seemed a little bit more understandable. Not understandable like I understand it, but reasonable to speak and have a conversation with someone like that than it would be to... But it is interesting that, Luke Skywalker does understand droid.
So does Rey.
That. Oh, yeah,
I feel like Luke, at early on he had to use like his X-Wing to translate it, and then somehow he figured it out.
Rey knew from studying, I guess, the different things that she scavenged.
And Rey kind of makes sense because we were introduced to that character like that. You're like, oh, she knows
she's
how
a
to
Mary Sue.
do this or whatever. Well, no.
Oh, jeez. He's joking, guys. He's joking.
But
if they don't know I'm joking by now, I
He's
mean,
joking.
Jeez.
Because
480 episodes later.
when we were introduced to him, he had to read off the machine. He didn't know what he was saying, and then he learned it when we got to the sequels.
Right,
but,
right.
Moving on to the next question. Which of these Star Wars characters or creatures wins top prize in a cute off? So the choices are BB-8, Babu Frik, your standard grade adorable porg. Maybe a little Freudian slip there.
Jack Porkins from A New Hope.
The last option being Wicket.
I noticed
John,
Grogu's not on this list.
Yeah, because John probably
Correct.
thought he would win hands down. Right?
Yeah.
So which one are you picking, John?
It's Wicket. That's the only correct answer. That's it.
Is that a joke?
No, it's not a joke.
Because I was gonna say he doesn't have a chance.
Really? Wicket?
Why he even was on the list?
I feel like he was the first cute Star Wars character. He was like the first one. He set the bar, and then all others stood on his shoulders that came thereafter. And I like his little personality. Like his scene when he meets Leia is one of the most adorable things in the world. This little teddy bear making his little noises, thinking he's tough, but he's not. Like. Completely cute
I guess. I don't
adorable.
know. I rewatched the Ewoks movie or parts of it or whatever, and I was like, man, I don't know what people were thinking. Like, oh, George Lucas adding those teddy bears to sell toys. These things are not.
Those movies stink.
No, I know, but I'm saying like, but these creatures just in general are not cute. Like, I don't think they're cute at all.
Some of them are ugly, but
The
I think
baby
Wicket's
one,
cute.
the baby one in Return of the Jedi. Lacey, which one are you picking?
So.
She's like Wicket. Dang it.
So here's the thing. I think BB-8 is cute in a way that he acts, but if you look at him as like the cutest character, he's not the cutest character because it's a droid. Babu Frik is cute in the way that Babu Frik looks. However, when you realize it's an 84-year-old animal, it's not as cute as, like a baby. Like you're like, oh, this is cute. You're like, oh, this
Babu Frik can like manipulate you.
84-year-old Anzellan is not exactly the cutest. Porgs are just dumb. So if you have to go on like looks and actions, it would be Wicket because he does the little head tilts, he does the little walks, he's adorable. He like tries to throw the rock and falls over, and he's got the whole like this thing. Warwick Davis killed it when he was trying to look cute. So yes, Wicket. If Grogu was on here, Grogu would win. But
Lacey, I thought you were on the same page with me because you literally did all of the same analytical things I did. I listened to a podcast on the science of cute, and I was like, okay, so which one, not because of this question, but I just happened to know that.
Cute's not a science, though. That's where you went wrong.
No, it is.
It's a vibe.
It is. No. It's the ratio of big eyes to little.
Yeah, there's all these little things that make things cute.
Yeah, but there's no science to it. It's heart. It's not
your
science.
Your boy, the South Park guy was like talking about the Minions movie, and he's like, yeah, it's a formula. You like literally
Trey Parker, Matt Stone.
Yeah, you put. I think it was Trey Parker. He's like, you have to cut a character to this height, and you have to raise their voice three times faster.
And then their eyes
higher.
have to be a certain size versus the mouth.
He knew the formula that made Minions cute, so he was like doing press. Or he wasn't doing press for the movie, but he was doing. Anyway, all that being said, BB-8 for the same reason. It was a robot and it has cute actions, but it's not actually cute. Babu Frik because it's cute in size and theory, but it is also like this older person and the spirit of that thing. Then it has to be the porg. Because Wicket is not even on this. He's not even close. Especially,
I would say Wicket's definitely cuter than a porg.
No blinking Wicket. Like,
what's the cutest character? A chicken in Star Wars. That's what you're saying.
I mean, it's an innocent animal. Like it's like it has no power, and you know that, and that's what makes it cute.
But you know how cute Wicket
Grogu
is?
has power,
he got his
he's
own
cute.
song. Wicket got do 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 do. That's how cute Wicket is.
That's cute. I like that he has his own song.
So if you have power, you can't be cute. So Grogu's not cute.
No, what I'm saying is like when things are cute because they're tiny, and what tiny is it makes it weak. Is your understanding of it's
cute to you is weakness.
Like a baby. That's one aspect of it. Why are you arguing with this?
A mini Star Wars war right now.
Yeah, it's like literally like why people think things are cute. It partially is because you
want to protect them. That's why people say protect this at all costs. That's
James giving us the most December 2017 answer possible to this question.
Oh, jeez. You left Grogu off this list, John.
Yeah.
So
on purpose. Yeah. Or else it would have been, Grogu. Next.
Yeah.
What was that
speaking
mouth
of
you just
next.
did? What was that?
Speaking droid.
Speaking of next, you are a rebel spy and you have to take one of the following jobs, and you are high enough in the ranks to pick which job you want to take. Which do you choose? So the jobs are, we have 3. Steal Empire plans, or Empire project plans for the Citadel Tower on Scarif. Break into Darth Vader's castle. He is there, by the way, to steal Sith artifacts. or sneak into the Sith Citadel on Exogel, which, of course, Palpatine is there. And, of course, what you'll be doing on that job is to take holo-images of the cloning facility. Which one are you doing, Lacey?
Every time we get asked these questions, I'm like, which one am I least likely to die?
Yeah.
Because that's how I operate. So I'll start from the bottom. Sneaking into the Exogel Sith Citadel, I'm afraid of the dark, and that thing is very dark. There are no lights there. And there's a lot of climbing. Like that's
and really creepy sounds.
Yeah, like
and lightning.
I feel like that's like not
the terrifying tail things. Like, is it lightning inside? Like,
I'm scared if I don't have a nightlight in my hallway in my house. So I don't see myself sneaking into the Citadel at Exegol. Next one up is break into Darth Vader's castle. Also
Similar
creepy.
Reason?
Also, Vader would kill me in 2 seconds. Like, it would not even be... Like, it would 2 seconds, he'd choke me, I'd be dead. So I'm going to go with 1, steal Empire project plans from Scarif, because there's enough people around that I could probably blend in, that I might get away with it. And that's a big might.
Yep. I actually went with the same thing. For similar reasons, I thought Darth Vader and Palpatine both know I'm coming and I'm there a year before I even think about doing it. They know. And if they don't want me to do it, then I'm not getting out of that thing alive, because they just literally have the Force. So stealing Empire project plans from the Citadel Tower on Scarif seems very highly impossible, but reasonably, whatever.
We at least saw it happen.
By normal people. Only one of them, maybe kind of was using the Force to do one thing. But normal people were able to actually make it happen. There was a big enough breach in the security that you could make it happen. John, is that the same reason for you, or do you have another one to choose the other options? What do you got?
I'm going to Exegol, baby.
Exegol?
Oh my God. No, you would not.
We're going to take some photographs.
I just got this new holo camera and I got to test it out.
Yeah, it's a flip phone, but...
Him and Wicket are going to be there.
Yeah,
well,
that's his dream team. It's me and Wicket.
I'm using Wicket to divert the attention away from Palpatine with his cuteness. And
Chewbacca's there not to help at all, because any information you would need.
Yeah, I'm using a flip phone so that I can't be tracked there. And I'm taking some photos and uploading them to the interweb.
Boba Fett's there, but he died.
Boba Fett's there?
But he died. Yeah, this is your whole one with the Force episode.
All I'm picturing right now is John sneaking around this flip phone, and then it cuts to the throne room, and Palpatine's like, what the hell? And then it's just
Wicket's just the entertainment now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would do that. Take some photos. I would assume Palpatine is still dangling from his little crane So maybe he's like, oh, the guy just wants to take some photos. He's a fan. You know, sometimes dictators, they like that ego attention, right? They just want some photos taken. So I'll take some photos of the little floating Snokes and be on my way. I won't trouble anybody. Just take some little paparazzi pictures. That's all.
No way. There's no way. No way.
I think I have a very small feeling that John also had the answer we had and then switched it on the fly.
Why is it this? Does he
Because
dance
that's
like
what he
that?
does. He like does this like side to side dance.
Yes. He also tries to stab Princess Leia.
He also took Lacey's popcorn. So
He did.
All right. Well, that is it for One with the Force, guys. We have so much more to talk about because we're getting ready to head into the discussion. John.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
Take us there.
yeah. So James, before we get into the discussion, as we've been talking about, as if you're listening to this, you're a diehard Star Wars fan. You know, 2022 is going to be the biggest year in Star Wars history for content. We are planning to expand and do more podcasting, more videos, more streams for all the new Star Wars series heading our way. But we can't do it without your help. TRB is what you see here. It is the three of us, and the time and resources that we put into making not just TRB, but all of our content, like the Mando Fan Show is one example, is not possible without our support on Patreon. If you haven't yet, please consider checking out the page at patreon.com/resistancebroadcast. Take a look at the tiers. They start at just $2 a month, and your support secures the future of this show here, TRB, and everything that we're planning to do in the future, including 2022 and beyond. So if you're able to support us at all, from the three of us, thank you so much. All right, so our discussion this week, what if Yoda fought Darth Vader, lightsaber duel style? So we've seen both Yoda and Darth Vader in their lightsaber fighting prime at different times, but the two iconic characters have never faced off on screen, at least in canon. I'm sure there's been something along the lines back in the day with expanded universe, I'm sure. So I'll bring that up in the comments, but that does not count here in Canonville. So what if they did fight? Who would win in a lightsaber duel between Yoda and Darth Vader? Or how would the fight go? Would Vader do some dark side cheating and trickery? Would Yoda be able to master him using other techniques? So let's try to figure it out. I'm just going to start by saying I think where they fight would be important. You know, if it's on, you know, Dagobah and it's Yoda's home turf, maybe he sets some traps or something like that and is able to best Vader in that sense. But I think more importantly, it's going to come down to the knowledge of the Force and kind of like how Dooku brought up. He's like, you know, clearly we've matched each other in our knowledge of the Force, so let's settle this with a lightsaber. I think it'd go the other way around, where maybe they start with lightsabers and then, you know, they kind of get into the mix in other ways where Yoda is able to manipulate the Force, and then Vader maybe tries to do things on his end using the dark side. So I think it'd be a pretty even match physically. Because even Yoda in his prime, when he fought Dooku, he seemed to be struggling after quick bursts of energy. And if you age him up a little more during original trilogy time, when Darth Vader existed, because I'm trying to keep it on like a canon plane, like face hypothetically.
Well, when he
they
lifted
meet.
the ship, it didn't seem like he was just doing that easily.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say, just for the hypothetical situation from my perspective, I'm not putting them in a vacuum. I'm saying, say they do meet and fight in like the Kenobi series or somewhere in canon at some point. I think you'd get a Vader who isn't peak Vader, because peak Vader physically technically was pre-Lava Vader, who was fighting Obi-Wan. He was still very mobile and very athletic and able to do a lot of the things he wasn't able to do once he became more machine than man. And then you have Yoda, on the other hand, who was obviously weakened quite a bit with his fight against Palpatine, and he's close to the end of his life in age. So I'd like to keep them there as opposed to, well, let's pretend Yoda's 100 and Vader was this. I'm just trying to keep him more realistic. You guys can do whatever you want, but I think it'd be a really close match, more than people think. And I actually would not be surprised if somehow Vader was able to best Yoda. And people are going to bring up, well, Luke wasn't as good as Yoda, but he was able to take down Vader. I think that was more because it was his son. And I think that's why we need to see Vader fight more people when it's not personal to him. I don't think Vader ever had any intention to kill Luke. And I think that was his biggest weakness when he was fighting Luke Skywalker. So I think Vader, we would see a lot more of that Vader in the hallway of Rogue One, who was just like bodies are falling everywhere. And I know those were just rebel troopers, but if he was able to focus all of his hate and energy on one person and fought Yoda, I think it'd be a lot closer than people think. I think a lot of people would pick Yoda here, but I'm saying don't rule Vader out. I think it'd be a really good fight. Where do you guys start? Where do you want to go? Are you doing hypotheticals, more of like in a vacuum?
I'm going to let James start, but I just want to say that when you said that Yoda was putting up booby traps, I just thought how funny would it be if it was a movie of Home Alone with Vader trying to get into Yoda's hut.
Trying to rob Yoda's house.
It's Vader and Palpatine are the wet bandits.
Maybe that's the scene they filmed in the swimming pool, Lacey, like you said, for Home Alone.
It's just Yoda being like just hitting like all these booby traps.
Yoda sits down to a mac and cheese dinner at 9 o'clock and he just can't eat it because the burglars are at the house.
I always got so mad about that, by the way. I love mac and cheese and I used to be like, what a waste.
You guys are talking about Han Solo where he was like, nice to see you. Anytime anybody ever says, I'll get it, or anything like that, like, I always think of the Home Alone where he's like, I'll get him. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Like he's trying to act, but it also be funny or whatever. I'll get him. I always think of that line. Between the fight here, so I started thinking of it kind of in video game terms. Like I was thinking of Darth Vader being like the heavy character, very slow but extremely powerful. And he would be going up against a character who has probably very light attacks. Like when you get hit by him, he doesn't take much HP from you, but he's like the kickboxer or something like that, or the breakdancing character or something where it's like he's moving all around and it's almost like hard to follow him. So very fast, quick hits versus someone who's like, they only need to get that one punch on you. And if they can manage to get one solid punch, you're down, you're done.
Right.
Bruce Lee, Mike Tyson.
Yeah. So
I was thinking Super Smash characters. I was like, well, you've got
it's Pikachu versus like Falcon or something.
Falcon Punch.
Yeah, or Bowser or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, I know that guy.
So so the thing here that I was thinking is Yoda, I guess, wise enough to recognize that flaw in the character in Darth Vader? Be like, if I manage to put myself in any position where he's actually going to be able to get a hit on, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose this fight.
Right.
So I need to make sure that he doesn't get one hit on me, or even allow it at all. And I think Yoda's good enough to do that. And I think he's clever enough that he would be able to avoid that attack. That being said, though, it really paints Darth Vader in a weak light that Yoda would be able to best him that quickly. So it does make me think that if Vader was like, because Vader's super clever too, and I think he would go into the fight thinking the same thing. This guy's really fast, he's quick, he's probably going to try to light hit me all the way through until I'm weak. I have to come up with something else. And I think Vader, I don't know, I think Vader might be able to cleverly come up with something, not like a booby trap, for instance, but something
I feel like
that
he'd start throwing stuff like he does with Luke.
It might just allow him or give him just enough time to get in a hit. And I think getting in one hit on Yoda is really detrimental to his spirit. Similar to Palpatine versus Yoda as well. Like, I think like once Yoda started losing that fight, he probably could have kept fighting because he doesn't feel like he was weak, like he was beat to an inch of his life or anything like that. But I think his spirit broke and he was like, I'm losing this fight and I have to get out of here if I'm going to survive. So I think that as long as Vader can overcome Yoda's spirit, then he wins the fight.
I think that's a good point because with Palpatine, he does give up. He's like, I'm calling it, you know, and he runs away. So you have to think that he, they talk about how some of the best heroes just know when to call it. Like we see that with Luke, we see that with a bunch of different characters that just know when they've been beaten or when no one's going to actually win at this point. Like it's just someone's either going to die or there's no point in keep going. So I have to think that Yoda knows how it's important that he sticks around because of not just Kenobi, but with Qui-Gon Jinn and what could potentially happen with Luke Skywalker down the line, that he needs to stick around. So that's why I think you're on a good kind of path there, James, where it's like, if he does get beat, he's going to give up because he just doesn't want to sacrifice the importance of him being around.
Mm-hmm.
And what that could potentially mean, not just for him and Kenobi and Qui-Gon and Luke, but like for the future of the light side.
Yeah, there's also like that whole line of Yoda explaining to Luke, like, a Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, not attack,
right,
would work against him, against someone like Vader, who is just brutally aggressive. Because even in that Palpatine fight, as Palpatine's throwing the Senate pods at him, he's just taking them and like throwing them away, and he's using all that energy to like catch them and spin them back. And
right.
like with Dooku, when he tore the ceiling down, he had to like really use a lot of his energy to hold that stuff up and move it away so it didn't crush Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like you said, Lacey, I could see Vader doing that, and not just using like things like whatever those boxes were against Luke. He would probably use a lot of bigger things.
Rock, tree, yeah.
Maybe even try to use vines to strangle Yoda with them or something. Like he would use.
You guys are very stuck on this is happening on Dagobah.
No, I'm just whatever the environment
is. He's going to use vines.
I think it's because we were just talking about it on Monday of him being on Dagobah.
I guess so. I
just
keep picturing it like on Final Destination in Smash
James,
Brothers.
Well,
like
how likely is it for Yoda to leave
platform.
the planet? I guess that's
right.
the big question. How likely is it that Yoda will actually leave Dagobah to fight someone?
What if they're on a space station and there's wires everywhere, and he uses those instead to try to strangle Yoda?
I just don't think Yoda's going
to
leave Dagobah. I don't think he has any intentions of leaving, and if we see him, that's where he's going to be.
Yeah, and we could all. I mean, this conversation could happen in a vacuum where you just like take character A, like the Matrix, in that white room, and take character B, and then they go at it, and there's no environment.
That's how I've kind of been thinking of it.
Oh,
and that's fine. Okay. And that's fine too. But I think their method of fighting, and knowing that Palpatine really, like, if you ever watch a boxing match or UFC fight and you're definitely rooting for one person, whether you're just doing it for fun because you're like, I'm gonna root for that guy because he has blue trunks, or I'm gonna root for that person because I like their hair or whatever, or
right.
You're a vested fan and you're like, your favorite fighters, like, you can tell they're not winning. Like, that's how I felt watching Yoda fight Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith. You're like, I feel like Palpatine has had the upper hand this whole time.
And you didn't expect it either when you were watching it. You were like, how is Yoda losing right now?
And the question is, Palpatine's fear was always that Anakin would defeat him, so he turned him. So if he thought Anakin could be stronger than him, then wouldn't you think that person would be able to also best Yoda? You know what I'm saying? So, and right. I know the machine aspect of Vader is a hindrance more than if we had Anakin in his prime physically. But we're talking about Vader here, so that is a part of it. But I do think, I have a feeling a lot of people, as they're listening to this or heading into this discussion before they even watch or listen to the episode, are going to be like, Yoda would destroy Vader because he's Yoda. But I really do just think it'd be a much closer match, and I think because of how the dark side cheats in a way, whereas Yoda is more defensive, and that approach,
and again, willing to call it, like knowing when there's no point in keep
all
going.
bets are off. Vader would do everything. He like how when a pro wrestler hits someone under the belt or eye gouges, like, it doesn't matter. I'm just here to kill you, and that's not an instinct Yoda has. Right. So I just think because of how the Sith operate, I know Jedi obviously have bested Sith, but when it comes to Vader versus Yoda, I can absolutely see Vader winning that bout.
So now, while I picture them in the void, I am going to use a little bit of canon or kind of story understanding here a little bit too, because I think that if given all things, like if all things were equal, Yoda was confident that he had the ability to defeat Vader, he probably would have.
Sure.
I think part of the reason that you're looking at all of the Jedi are now, they're not trying to regroup or anything like that and go up against this, is because I think Yoda just understands that given what's left of the Jedi, if they tried to go up against that entity, and maybe that includes the Emperor, but I think, you know, if you're smart, if you're strategic or whatever, well, you'd be like, well, we could separate Vader. We could draw him out and we could defeat him.
Right.
I think they just kind of inherently know that he's the chosen one. Like, he is that being that brought balance to the Force and all this other stuff. And they know enough about Anakin. They watched him grow up. And when he turned, they were like, oh, crap. Like, this is bad news. And so as masterful as, you know, say like Mace Windu was, Anakin's like, you know, like, just like,
right.
You know, not that Anakin defeated Mace Windu, but my point is like, you're talking about somebody who was at the absolute top of the Jedi chain. You also have
he got
Yoda.
blindsided though.
I understand it. I understand. I'm just saying, Mace Windu dead.
That'd be like you cutting my arm off. Like, I'd be like,
Well,
geez, what are you doing? You're on my side. You're like, no.
My point being that Mace Windu walked into a confrontation with Palpatine and Anakin, and they lost. You know, he lost.
Sure.
He's
Yeah.
gone. He's dead.
Yeah.
My point being that, like, I think that Anakin was so powerful that they are aware that they might not actually stand a chance against him. So I think part of that understanding of,
What about comparatives? Does this work for you? So Yoda clearly, either you can say they had a standoff, but he definitely had a bit of a hard time with Dooku. And Anakin, even though he wasn't full Vader, once he had fully realized as a Jedi, I'm not talking about in Attack of the Clones, but in Revenge of the Sith, he absolutely annihilated him.
Dooku, yeah. A student of Vader, or a student of Yoda.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, Yoda struggled against Dooku, and Anakin, when he was finally a realized Jedi, just absolutely crushed him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is so Anakin was able to crush a student of Dooku, but you're also bringing in the point that, like, Yoda and Dooku fought, and they were pretty similar as is.
Yeah. It was a standoff. Fought well, you have my old Padawan, and they kind of go separate ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like,
that's
Yoda's
a really
not
good
a
point.
finisher. Like, he couldn't finish Palpatine, he couldn't finish Dooku, he held his own. And people are going to bring up, well, you know, High Republic time, maybe Yoda can, you know, beat more people, but we got to at least limit this to while Vader was existing, while he was alive, like, they could when they encountered each other.
It's interesting too, because, you know, I say that about Obi-Wan too, like, he loses pretty often. But it's funny that you're bringing up Yoda. Like, has Yoda ever won a fight that we've seen on screen?
Not that we've seen, no.
I mean, we've seen, okay, I take that back. He's probably won plenty of battles throughout Clone Wars and stuff. I can even think of a few.
I'm saying live action, no.
But yeah, the Yoda that is traditional from the movies and stuff, yeah, every time he's encountered something, it seems like he loses.
Yeah.
Except against...
Is that because he's not good, or is it because he knows when to call it?
Oh, yeah,
Gree.
he can kill clones, yeah, quite easily. Yeah, it's probably a bit of both. He doesn't have that's, you know, the dark side ego that is what caused Anakin
I
to
feel
be
like he refuses
burnt,
to defeat others. Like, it's kind of part of who he is. Like, he doesn't believe in doing that.
Or he just is smart and he's like, me, like you said, Lacey, me dying here is worse for the long haul, trying to win this thing, than if I bail and I could have a better purpose later. Whereas a Sith would not think that way. They would say, I'm going to beat this person. Like,
Right,
Anakin,
you
I don't care if
picture-
you have the high ground. I'm going to kill you. And
Or
then-
Darth
Nope.
Vader in the hallway in Rogue One.
Yeah,
Like, he wasn't
right.
considering the ramifications of killing all these people. He was just like, I need to get to point A to point B.
No, and I'm sure as you get more enraged, just like humans are, you lose your sensibilities, and you're like a shark with your eyes rolled in the back of your head. And like seeing that side of like Darth Vader would be something else too, because you would have his power, but also just like, I'm just going to do whatever I have to do right now, and whether that ends up being his weakness or not, so be it. But
right, but could that go against it? Because we saw that with Kylo Ren, with Luke Skywalker, and that clearly was the reason for his own defeat.
Right. So I mean, that part is interesting. The mental side of it. But I don't know. I feel like the more we're talking about this, I feel like Vader could beat Yoda.
The thing about the mental side of it too is I feel like Yoda would attempt to reach out and talk to him, you know, say like,
right,
you know, you've fallen and you don't have to do this, or this is, you know, whatever. And I feel like
you're wise to lower your defenses.
Yeah, I just feel like all of that would just bounce off of his outfit. You know, it's just like none of that is going to penetrate Vader. So that fight, if Yoda is attempting to do any sort of moral win,
Luke Skywalker with Kylo type thing,
yeah, that's what kind of makes Darth Vader is that he blocks all that stuff out, and he just really doesn't have the compass that a normal person should. He's always just going to do whatever the heck he wants, and
he also partially blames probably Yoda what happened to him.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah,
that's a big part of it.
There's something personal to it. Yeah.
It's also like,
it's prideful to be like, oh man, if I get to be the one who kills like the tippy top of the Jedi thing, he would like see that as awesome.
What if in Star Wars, if they ever did this, it would be heartbreaking. But imagine seeing Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Vader.
Why would they do that? He's a Force ghost.
I said, what if?
Aren't you the one that's always like too many Force ghosts?
I would not want to see him versus Darth Vader.
Ghost. I'm just saying Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Vader.
Oh, I thought you meant like in Kenobi, because that's what we're kind of talking about.
No. I said, what if? Like, just
I don't think we are talking Kenobi. We're talking about the white void that is these two characters are in.
Oh, I thought we were talking within Kenobi. Would they ever meet up and fight?
No, we're saying just it's whatever you want it to be. If you want it to be in Kenobi, it's
that's
fine.
how I've been picturing this whole thing, is like, how would this work?
That's why I was saying earlier, I was like, why do you guys keep thinking this is going to be on Dagobah? I'm like on Final Destination in Smash Bros.
Right. Well, it's also
I just used that as an example.
Well, also because John was talking about like where they are in their strengths, like kind of like age-wise, and that would fall into Kenobi, and that's kind of where this came from. So that's why I was like, what? So when he said Qui-Gon, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I brought up Dagobah because I said if Yoda was on his home turf, he would have an advantage, and that went into the Home Alone joke.
Sure.
But I don't know. I mean, yeah.
So what can you give any points to why you think maybe Yoda could pull this out? What's just end that real quick.
maybe if he can, how wet can Vader get? Maybe what? Can he get like, because he's mechanical.
So
I don't know how wet.
So I think John's thinking.
What do you think? He's like the Tin Man and Wizard of Oz. He can't get wet.
He's electrical. What do you mean?
Yeah. Would Yoda, when he sees Vader approaching, would he attempt to like water bend, you know, and like hit him with something that's just going to malfunction him quickly? Like something that Yoda could do that could best Darth Vader.
Disable him more than fight him.
I mean, I famously go back to this, and maybe this is something that kind of broke canon a little bit, but Tarkin went 1-to-1 with Vader and he beat him. And part of that was because he was slow and he trapped him, and then he used lightning to disable him. So he caught him in a trap and set something so that lightning would strike the area, and it disabled Darth Vader. And he's like, so now you can't fight me.
Well, we saw Yoda pull lightning.
There's a whole Reddit thread about, is Darth Vader waterproof? And people are like, we're not sure. So
we're not sure.
So if Darth Vader falls
this time.
Has Darth Vader ever gone to Camino? He'd probably be like, if I slip off that platform and fall into the ocean, I'm toast.
Like Palpatine's like, you will go to Camino, and he's like, I will send Boba Fett to Camino. And he's like, he's like, no, I need you to go. And he's like, can't you send somebody else, please?
He's like, look, pal, you hate sand, you hate water. He's like, do you like anything? Do you go anywhere? He's like, I'll go on Hoth if the temperature is
like,
absolutely frozen.
Yeah.
Hey, I got these free trips to Sandals. It's beaches.
Maybe that's why he went to Mustafar. You're right. No water, no sand. It's just, that's it.
Rock.
Yeah.
Just molten rock that hardens and then turns into more molten rock.
So if Yoda was to pull this off, I think we're probably right. He would probably use some sort of like logistical thing to
Distraction.
try to defeat him because his body is already broken. He knows that's a weakness. So therefore Yoda might be able to pull something out that would cause him to... Oh, I don't know. Would Vader do, or I'm sorry, would Yoda do anything that would cause Vader in his own pride to destroy himself?
That's tough. I don't know. That's kind of sadistic, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. But I think it's kind of
If
one
I
of
don't
those
know if
things
he's
where
waterproof, I can't answer that question.
yeah, I mean, Obi-Wan kind of did something similar. He got in this position. He said, here's
Title
the
of the
thing.
episode is Darth Vader waterproof.
Yeah, we just changed the title. No, but Obi-Wan got in this
Just
position.
him
He
falling
said,
into the water like...
here I am, and you know if you try it, you're going to lose. Don't let your pride be your downfall. And Anakin was like, you underestimate my power. My pride is going to take over this. And he goes ahead and he does it. And Obi-Wan's like, all right, it's your call. You're defeating yourself in this case.
Right.
I mean, that is kind of how it went down. Would Yoda have done the same thing?
That's
you're
the tricky
probably
part
right,
of
maybe.
writing,
Probably would not
writing
have.
Jedi, in my opinion, is they have to fight. And there's still the Jedi code of like, not for attack. But we've seen Yoda attack clones. Like, there's a gray area there. And I'm not talking gray Jedi. I'm talking like Jedi do have to get their hands dirty sometimes. So I just think maybe he would dip his toes in that a little bit. But he wouldn't do anything that would destroy his view of himself as a Jedi.
Right.
That would make him have to like walk away from the order or the belief of it,
So I think I think what you're kind of describing though, and we're getting into a bigger discussion here, but I think what we're kind of talking about is what the Jedi are supposed to be and what they were slowly turning into.
Yeah.
And Yoda was part of that problem. Then once all that stuff happened, then Yoda was trying to teach Luke those things that were again at the core of what makes a Jedi, defense, never for attack, and all that other stuff. Those are the things that those were things they weren't even following themselves because Palpatine had infiltrated their mind and their understanding and turned the Jedi into generals of a war, which they were never supposed to be.
Right.
So I think you kind of have something there when it comes to like the morality of the how a Jedi is supposed to handle himself in a battle.
Yeah, and Yoda is like the I don't know, the beacon of what a Jedi should be for fans. He's the end all be all. He's the master. If he goes against the moral element of being a Jedi, then it's just like nothing matters. That'd be like finding out that Mr. Rogers was a serial killer. You'd just be like, well, then what? Nothing matters anymore. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that'd be so hard. Like,
He's the baseline
out,
of what a good Jedi is, basically.
Yeah, like at what you find out like Tom Hanks is like, I don't know, like a money launderer or a drug dealer. You're like, no, not Tom Hanks. Like it's just like he's that you put him at the top of the list in terms of like that's who you want to be. That's the goal.
Right.
Yoda is the one. He's always true. He's the wise master. Like if we saw Yoda doing some things that go against his beliefs just to win a fight, I don't think he would ever get himself there.
Right.
So, and I think that's, I guess, my final point, I guess, is I think because of that, I think Vader would win the one-on-one fight because he would do whatever it took.
Right. James?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I still think I have some strange thoughts on like what I don't think most fans agree with, which is with like where the Jedi were at this point, and how it was like it wasn't so much their code and the way they were teaching each other certain things. It had more to do with Palpatine and how he was manipulating everybody, and they were all confused. So when it gets into some of that stuff, I think I kind of tend to disagree with how the general fan thinks of how the prequels went down, but But I don't know, when actually talking about this fight, I think it's becoming increasingly more difficult to see Yoda coming out on top. Because going back to my very first point, I think he's fast, but Vader only needs to get like one hit in.
It's like when Batman's trying to do all that trickery and Bane just grabs him by the neck.
Yeah.
All it takes is that one move.
Yeah.
Right.
And snap. And,
yeah.
but
and
it's
then
like,
you break the Muppet's back.
Right. So when I went into this, I really wasn't sure, because I think I started this by saying I think it'd be a fairer fight than people think, and I think Vader would have a shot. And now that we've had the discussion, I think Vader would win. Lacey, where are you? What are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think by how we've talked about this, I kind of feel like Yoda, not that he would lose in the sense that he's weak, but he would lose in the sense of knowing when to give up. When knowing that there's more at stake than him just winning versus Vader, he'd be more willing to either run away or throw it so that he can get away, because he doesn't see the point in keeping the fight going and defeating Vader.
Oh,
because they always talk about how Luke's destiny is to defeat Vader. So if that's the case, why would it then Yoda try to do that?
Yeah, sorry. Another angle I didn't even think of is the same thing that Obi-Wan does. It's like, strike me down and I'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine. It's like, at the end of the day, Yoda losing that fight doesn't mean anything because he doesn't lose.
Right.
You know?
Right.
If Anakin kills Yoda in this case and gets all of his anger and all of his aggression out on Yoda, Yoda's still around, and the only one who suffers from that is Vader himself. So I don't think Yoda
win no matter what.
yeah. So I think at the end of the day, like, Yoda probably doesn't even have the will to defeat Darth Vader, because he just knows that, well, body or no body, I'm still Yoda, but you're the one who's doing this to yourself. You know, this is your choice. Death doesn't mean anything to me. So it's,
Right.
All right. Well, let us know what you think out there. Who would win in this fight? And you know, it's certainly hypothetical because it hasn't happened. So if you want to just plug them into that white room in the Matrix, or if you want to do a young Yoda versus Anakin's version of Vader, it doesn't matter. It's a fun discussion to have because it's a hypothetical, and that's what our Thursday shows are about. Sometimes is making up these types of scenarios, because that's a big part of nerd fandom, like especially at things like Celebration, just like completely nerding out on stuff and just having fun with it. So let us know what you think about this. Who would come out on top in your situation, or if they met in canon. Hopefully we covered all the angles, but give us your thoughts. Quote tweet the episode on Twitter if you have it, or share it with a friend. Whatever you have to do, we appreciate you sharing the episode and giving your thoughts and comments and all that stuff. So thank you for that. But now we're going to move on to our next section, taking a little breather on resistance transmissions. So we're going to do a poll. Am I doing this, Lacey?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw it to you to give your first feedback on the results of this. But we put out a poll on Twitter. Here it is. Personal thoughts on it aside, simply put, do you think Rian Johnson's officially announced Star Wars film trilogy is still in development? We had 3 answers: yes, no, and unsure. We need an update. So the winning vote was no at 42%, followed by yes at 34%, and 24% people weren't sure whether it was yes or no, but they want an update. So no wins it here. Lacey, what are your thoughts on this? And where do you stand right now with this? I know, we've been kind of going along waiting. This thing was announced 4 years ago now, and they haven't brought it up in any
Only Ryan has.
Yeah.
Right?
So where do you stand on this, and what do you think about the results of the poll?
So first, I would have said unsure, but we need an update, but I wanted to be really definitive in my answer of yes or no. So I actually voted no. I was one of the people that said that it wouldn't happen. And I've said this a couple times in the show, and it's not a reflection on me wanting it to happen. I just don't think it is going to happen. Because it has been 4 years. We've gotten updates on other projects. We've gotten new projects. Taika has openly said that he's writing his project. Patty Jenkins is like, yeah, we're in it. We're doing the screenplay. We have the idea, everything. And Ryan hasn't given anything. It's just, yeah, it's happening. or oh, I've got other stuff going on, or yeah, no, it's still there, waiting to hear back.
So
What's going on?
What are your thoughts on the results? Were you surprised by them?
I'm not surprised. I think a lot of people feel similarly that I do, that you want to see it happen, but it's not, based on how long it's been since we've gotten a definitive update and or any type of news about this project, and just basically how it's kind of faded into this like pile, like into the Rangers of the New Republic pile. Like it's like over on the side of the desk right now. But I understand that most people are probably like, yeah, I'm unsure and I need an update. And then the people that say yes, they just really loved The Last Jedi and want to see Rian Johnson continue on with the Star Wars project. But it doesn't surprise me that the majority of people think no, only because this is past just Lucasfilm being secretive or Disney not giving us updates. It's like there's something else going on. You kind of had that gut feeling.
Yeah, and that's why I prefaced it by saying your personal thoughts about it aside, because there may be people who really want it that voted no for those reasons. I'm one of them. So
yes.
Yeah, and I would love to see it too. But James, you've been kind of kicking the can down the road with the same answer anytime we broach this subject by saying it was officially announced, so it is happening. Are you still on that page? Where do you stand with this? And also, what do you think of the results?
I'm not super surprised by the results, other than I'm surprised that 34% said yes. That seems like a high number, because I would imagine that the majority of people would be like no, or like, I don't know, maybe, but that's that other answer, unsure, we need an update. I definitely know now that Rangers of the New Republic is a really good example of something that was officially announced, and although they haven't confirmed that it's not happening either,
right? It
definitely seems like something that when we got that report that it was like, well, it's not currently in active development anymore. So it's kind of something that maybe isn't going to happen. That it kind of made me think that was the first time, and maybe there's other examples, but like of something that like really was going to happen, and then it was like very obviously canceled. Other than, of course, like the Benioff and Wise stuff, but I think that came with like they left the project, and the project really wasn't ever announced, so it kind of that's something different. Yeah. The one thing that I kind of hold, I have two kinds of minds on this one, is that there are still projects that people are working on that constantly get updates. And it's funny that this got brought up today, because I was talking to my brother about this. Did you know that Passion of the Christ 2 was announced in 2016? And I was like, I feel like I remember something about that. And I looked it up, and there are still updates today. Like Jim Caviezel this year was like, it's going to be the best movie you've ever seen or whatever. And I'm like, this is crazy. That was 4 years ago that movie was announced, and he's still giving updates on how it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, Deadpool was the thing they were tossing around for a very long time.
Passengers with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, I think, was in development like 8 to 12 years. Originally it was Keanu Reeves and Reese Witherspoon. It happens all the time.
Yeah, tons of movies that are just like always constantly in development, or they never get cut down or something. I think what is really happening here is they said, we want you to do 3 more. And then the movie came out and they said, we still want you to do 3 more, but we totally understand if you want to do other projects or anything like that, it is still on the table. And both parties have just left it at that. That's where it is currently. Nobody's working on it. Nobody's moving forward. That's why there's no sort of information on it. But the offer still stands, and Rian Johnson is currently focusing on other things, because he knows that the longer he goes, the more well-received that probably will be. Because there will still be Last Jedi haters, but they will have cooled off definitively.
And Knives Out 1, Knives Out 2, yeah.
I agree with that.
And he'll have other projects that people are excited about and stuff, and maybe they'd give him the other chance and stuff like that. So he is like, I will take you up on that later. And then that's it. That's all there is to it.
How did you vote?
How did I vote? I would put unsure we need an update. Because I think at this point, you're crazy to say yes or no, really. Nobody knows what's going on. So you just have to kind of leave it.
Most people are crazy, according to James Bainey.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I think here's my thing.
That was a Duncan Rocks joke. If anybody knows what
the longer it goes, like at what point, how far do we have to go before it starts getting just ridiculous? Where it's just like, and I'm not saying like make the movie, but I want to hear Kathleen Kennedy talk about it or Bob Chapek talk about it. It's an officially announced project, and they're talking about all the other ones, like Lacey said. They never talk about it. Oh yeah,
Alan Horn didn't mention it in his thing, right?
Yeah. So
Bob Iger didn't mention it.
I mean, that's something to pay attention to. Is that it's not about the blog saying Rian Johnson's out and then him being like, no, I'm not. It's about the fact that Disney and Lucasfilm are not talking about it. And that's why I put I put unsure we need an update. I didn't put unsure because we need an update. I just put that there because we need an update. And it was announced 4 years ago, and they were probably been talking about all these other movies that we just gave examples of over the years. No one's talking about this. So is it going to be like 2028 and be like, well, they did officially announce it and they haven't canceled? It's like just say something. Just give somebody some updates so they know that, you know, after he does Knives Out 3, he's going to come back to Star Wars. They're working on you know, an outline. They have a story established. Like, he's been leapfrogged already by 2 directors, Patty Jenkins and Taika Waititi.
Right.
Who are working on their movies.
Right.
So I'm just saying, give us an update. So I voted no just because I think because they're not talking about it, this thing's been written off, and they just don't know how to deal with the PR storm of the fans who love Rian Johnson by saying it's canceled. So they're just like, we're just not going to talk about it. It's like Milton's paycheck in Office Space. We just don't pay him. Problem solved. And that's my take. I want to see it because I think him with a clean slate without the burden of handling an old Luke Skywalker would be fair. And because I like Knives Out, I like other work he's done. I didn't like Looper as much because I thought it was a stupid idea to put the prosthetic on Joseph Gordon-Levitt's face, but I do like his other movies. So I thought Brick was good. So I would love to see it, but it's just, to me, I don't know. The more this goes on, it's just whatever. Hopefully tomorrow he like quote tweets our poll like, still doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else on this? Are you guys good?
We're good. Or I'm good.
All
sorry.
right.
I shouldn't say it for James. James, are you good?
Yeah. I mean, I could do a whole discussion on that.
Yeah.
We could just deep dive and keep going. Like, what about this option? What about this option? But
right.
I mean, just something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let us know what you all think out there. You probably may have voted in the poll, but if not, give us your thoughts on that as well. Share the episode. Appreciate that. Before we get out of here, I want to say, I brought it up before, Patreon support means a great deal. I want to say a thank you to our Patreon generals and Spice Runners. Our generals: Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Paul Olson, Jay Couchins, Oliver Lewis, Frank Grande, Haz Islam, Joe Ritchie. Great job on the pod race Monday, buddy. Darth Hurricane, John Charlton, Nick Kratz, Christian Morales, Brian Smith, Matt Chitty, and Val Trichkoff, and our Spice Runners: David Probus, Neil Shaw, Double C, Chris, Kendall Gelnar, Ryan Wara, Dave Hornack, Micah Harrison, and Thomas Hennessy. Thank you all for your support and all of our patrons. You keep us going, and you're allowing us to plan for things in the future. So really, truly thank you. Make sure you do subscribe to the show on your preferred platform, whether that's audio or the YouTube channel or both. It's free. 2 episodes a week and more coming in 2022. StarWarsNewsNet.com for all of your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. You can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey, Star Wars Newsnet, and my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies. Lacey.
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gillerin.
James.
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Myra Trunks, and occasionally on this show going full dirtbag.
Oh my God, he did
Yes!
I hate it. Oh God. Don't forget to take your trash out, James.
For our audio listeners, James took the combined 4-piece
Is it
Kit
good?
Kat, the fruity cereal version, and just took a giant. He bit half the thing off.
It's pretty good.
I
Doesn't
hate
say
it.
a
Why
Kit
did
Kat
you do
at all.
that?
Does it taste like Fruity Pebbles? Or like, or
I think it's supposed
I'm
to
really
taste like
bad with
milk in
stuff
the
like this.
cereal type thing.
wow.
Like what's left after you eat the cereal, I bet.
I think that's
He
what
went
they're
for it.
going for. I definitely think it's like a Fruity Pebble kind of taste.
Yeah.
But it does not taste like Kit Kat, like, at all.
Did you still have
I'm
any
bad with taste.
Hold on though. Did you still have any residual taste from the warheads that may have altered
No,
this
I was thinking about that
sample?
earlier. I took a drink of the of like root beer, which I brought because it was sweet, and they said sweet counteracts
God.
sour. But even after I took a drink of the root beer, I was like, I can taste it. I can still like. There's something about the
You went
sweet
from
that's not sitting
Warhead to
right.
root beer to Fruity Pebbles cereal like white chocolate.
Full
to cotton
dirtbag mode
candy
too.
as I was going through this episode too.
Oh.
Reason because I had all these sweet things sitting next to me in case I like died of sour.
Died of sour. So really, that's all Yoda or Darth Vader has to do is shoot some warheads in Yoda's mouth.
That's how it would work.
All right. Well done, James. I was gonna remind you, so I'm glad you did it. But we hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. We have this. So this is the 16th. So that means Visions comes out
Next week.
this coming Wednesday. So, but we'll be back with you on Monday morning with another episode right here on TRB. Until then, see you around, kids.